Today I'm going to share with you how to precisely color black and white photos in Photoshop. You see, when you try to use AI, it slightly changes the image a little bit, sometimes even shifts it. We don't want to do that. We want to purely restore the photo without changing anything. And if you were to color black and white photos manually, it can take you hours, if not days, depending upon the complexity. So today I'm going to share with you a couple ways that are precise and super fast as well. We use the new technologies available to us without changing any part of the image. No matter what version of Photoshop you have, there is a way that works for you. So without any further ado, let's get started. Back in the magical world of Photoshop, and if you wish to go ahead and download any of the photos and follow along, you know what to do. Check the links in the description. Before coloring any black and white photo, you need to make sure that you change the mode to RGB. Right now, if you go to Image, Mode, you would notice that it is set to grayscale. And that is the case for many of the black and white photos. You need to make sure that you change it to RGB, otherwise you won't be able to add any color to it. Secondly, let's start with a method that does not require generative AI but does use machine learning available in the later versions of Photoshop. For that, with the background layer selected, press Ctrl or Command J. Next, if you want to be able to change stuff later, you can always go to Filter, Convert for Smart Filters, so that whatever filter we apply, we'll be able to change the settings later. Now let's go to Filter, Neural Filters, right there. Inside of that, most of you already guessed it. Let's scroll down and turn on Colorize. For some of you, it might not already be installed, so install it and it's done. It gives a good starting point for you. It's not perfect, but it's a good base. See how much faster it can make your coloring process. Now you can continue your coloring in this window right here, or take it into Photoshop. That's up to you. If you do wish to continue here, let's say this is blue, right? We need to correct it. Simply click here and set it to whatever color you want. In my case, I'm just gonna set it to possibly this color. This should work. Hit OK. And there you go. It corrects that. You can create as many points as you wish. So one more point right there, same color. You can even change it to your liking. Maybe I'm gonna make it slightly more yellowish. Hit OK. That's a bit better. Similarly, different colors in different places, up to you. And if you scroll down, you have a lot of options right here. If you want to experiment, please go for it. There's so much to play with right here. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. You can output it as a color layer, but I don't recommend it. It sometimes changes stuff. Smart filter is fine right there. Hit OK. And there we have a nice base. Now it's time to add some treble to it. In other words, some detail. Let's name this layer Base Color. Right above it, we are going to create a brand new layer. Let's change the blend mode of this layer from normal to color. And simply, you can name this color correction. This is a different kind of color correction, but you get that. Let's take the brush. You can also decrease the flow if you wish to, but I'm going to keep it at 100 for now. With a soft round brush, you can take a sample of the good color by holding the Alt key or the Option key and clicking here, for example. If your sample is not happening, select the eyedropper tool right there, and sample size, I would recommend that you set it to 3x3 or 5x5 so that you're not sampling from a pixel, you're sampling from an average of 3x3 pixels. Secondly, sample all layers or current and below is fine. Take the brush and sample whatever color you want, hold the Alt key or the Option key, click to sample and paint in other areas. There you go. That's how you correct the color. You can also use selections to your advantage. In this case, select any of the three tools: Object Selection, Quick Selection, or the Magic Wand. And then at the top, you will see Select Subject. Let's click on that. This allows you to stay within or stay outside the subject. In this case, I want to paint the ground without disturbing the subject. So let's invert the selection. Right now, the selection is selecting the subject. To invert the selection, press Ctrl-Shift-I, Command-Shift-I on a Mac. And then when you take the brush and paint, it won't get inside the subject. Like so. See how easy that was to correct? And similarly, you can use the same technique to correct the rest of the areas. Let's press Ctrl or Command D to deselect. If you were to zoom in on the lips, you see the lipstick is leaking into a lot of other areas. To fix it again, hold the Alt key or the Option key, click to take a sample of the good skin area, just paint right there. To create the outline or bring back the outline of the lipstick. Similarly, let's take a sample from here and paint right there. Similarly, you can do the same for the teeth. Take a sample from the good white area and just paint around. I've done a pretty fast job here, and just a little bit of work, we have come from this to this. And that too without changing the image one bit, doing it super fast, still have all the controls for corrections and not using any form of generative AI. I gave it 5 more minutes and this is the result that I got. If you are a PiXimperfect Pro member, you'll be able to also download the finished PSD. By the way, PiXimperfect Pro is our complete Photoshop learning platform that allows you to master Photoshop from start to finish and beyond, with more than 120 lessons and 200 plus practice projects to follow along. My goal is to make you the master of concepts so that you never have to memorize the steps. You can check out PiXimperfect Pro only on PiXimperfect.com. Back to the video. Let's say I wanted to color this. Now this image is slightly more complicated. If we used the same method by going to Filter, Neural Filters, inside of that, let's scroll down and check Colorize. It does a pretty good job, but there is a lot of leak, and this will require a lot of corrections. So if you're willing to do the corrections and not use generative AI at all, perfectly fine. And that's what example 1 was for. If you do want to take help of generative AI without changing the image one bit, even if you zoom it in, it will stay absolutely intact. Here's how to do it. First of all, take a look at the aspect ratio of your image. If it's square already, it's perfectly fine. But if it's not, press C for the crop tool. From the drop down at the top, choose square. Why? Because whenever we use something like Nano Banana or Flux, the image shifts a bit in the generation. But from my experiments throughout hundreds of images, I have seen that if your image is perfectly square, it doesn't shift as much. And it's very essential for us that it aligns perfectly. Now we will extend it, hold the Alt key or the Option key and then extend it just like so. Hit enter or return. Now you might say, what about these areas? Don't worry, we're going to crop it in later after coloring this one. Select the Move tool back again and let's create a solid fill. Click on the adjustment layer icon and choose solid color. And black is fine, hit OK and place it under Einstein. Just make sure he doesn't end up in the black hole. Sorry for the bad joke. Select the top layer, press Ctrl or Command A to select it all. Then if you're not seeing the contextual taskbar, right-click outside the canvas and click on Show Contextual Taskbar. Now, depending upon the plan you're on, some of you may or may not have access to partner models like Nano Banana or Flux. If you don't have access, you can also process it directly with Gemini or any other platforms that give you free access. Just export it, process it. Same thing. Click on Generative Fill, and in this case, I'm going to choose Nano Banana Pro as the model. And just type in, colorize this photo. Now this should do the job, but if you want, you can give it more instructions as to which area should be whatever color you want. In this case, what if I type in green chalkboard, black suit, dark blue vest, red tie, natural skin tone? Just some directions, and it's entirely optional. Let's click on Generate. You need to make sure that this generation aligns perfectly with the original image. Let's zoom in. Here's the before, here's the after. It aligns perfectly, but as I told you, it changes the image. Have a look at the eye. Here's the before. See? There is a little change to the eye, there's a little change to the mustache. If you want the exact same image without any of the generative AI stuff, simply change the blend mode from normal to color. And that is the magic of it. This remains the exact same image. Now, if you want to make it better, you can do a bunch of things. And this is where your core Photoshop techniques come into play. For example, the skin is blown out too much. How do we solve it? Simple. Create a solid color adjustment layer right there and choose a skin tone. Keep in mind, we can change this later. I'm going to choose something like this. Hit OK. Now you can turn it off by clicking on the eye, double click right here, and let's pick a color like this one. I'm just going to make it really bright like so. Hit OK. Turn it on. And this time, let's change the blend mode from normal to, you guessed it right, multiply is the blend mode which darkens. Let's choose multiply, and that area is fixed, but other areas are getting darker as well. So we need to use some kind of masking. So select the mask right there, press Ctrl or Command I to invert the mask, then take the brush with white as the foreground color. Let's paint it. Remember, white shows, black hides. So let's paint right there, all around. There you go. If you feel this is too much, you can always decrease the opacity. I'm going to set it to about 60. On top of that, you can use it with blend if. There's just so many possibilities. 72 is even better in my opinion. Now, we don't want to leave the hand out, so let's paint right there as well. There you go. We covered that. We can paint this area as well. Now you can do a bunch more things on top of that. Say the background was not saturated as you wanted it to be. Let's click on the new layer button. You want to make sure one of these three tools are selected and then click on select subject. It selects the subject, but we want the opposite, so press Ctrl Shift I, Command Shift I. Now with this selection active, we will create a hue saturation adjustment layer. Click on the adjustment layer icon and then pick hue saturation. Now all you do is just increase the saturation to the amount you want, and there you have it. A bit more saturated background. We don't need this particular layer. And just above hue saturation, let's create our favorite adjustment layer. I hope it's yours too. Click on the adjustment layer icon and then choose curves. Now with the same mask, hold the Alt key or the Option key, click and drag and drop this same background mask to this one. Hit yes. You can simply get back to the properties of the curves and maybe use something like this. There you go. That adds a little more depth. You can also play with these. There is just so much you can do. I would even go select the mask, take the brush, and maybe even extend it right there. Like so. Now it is better. Fantastic, isn't it? Now if you wish, you can crop it back to how it was. Just hold the Control or Command. It's very easy. Click on the thumbnail of the previous layer right there. Once it is all activated, press C for the crop tool. It should make a cropping of that selection and then hit Enter or Return. Maybe twice, and there you have it. We came from this to this. And the great part is, no part of the image was changed one bit. It is the exact same image. Before, see, and after, nothing has changed. And that's the power of the color blend mode and some core techniques in Photoshop. Now, if you're someone who doesn't want to use neural filters, who doesn't want to use generative AI for guidelines, who wants to color a black and white image from absolute scratch, there is also a technique. In my previous videos that I have shared many years ago, you can use gradient maps and hue saturation to color everything precisely from scratch. It is just that it can take you a long time, but it is a lot of fun. You can watch the video right here. I hope you enjoyed this one. Just for a quick recap, in the first method, we used neural filters Colorize and then used the color blend mode to correct it. That's all there is to it. In the second method, we first made sure that our image was square so that when we generate something, it doesn't shift. And then using generative AI, we colorized it and then simply change the blend mode to color. After that, you can do some corrections, some enhancements. That's up to you. Now, you want to make sure in all cases, before starting the coloring process, you need to go to Image, Mode, and make sure it is set to RGB, not grayscale. If it is set to grayscale, change it to RGB, otherwise it won't do any coloring. I hope this video helped, and if it did, make sure to give us a like, and also don't forget to subscribe, and not just subscribe. Ring the bell so that you, my friend, don't miss any other future tips, tricks, or tutorials. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Till then, stay tuned and make sure that you keep creating.